All right, well, thanks everyone for coming in to our meeting tonight. I'm Acting Chief Kevin Swope. I really like the fact that we have so many people here to see the great things that are going on at the police department, and we want to share the information. Not all information is great. No city's perfect, and no one is perfect. So you're going to see some things on this board here that might surprise you. We have to get better at maybe solving more crimes, or maybe we're solving lots of crimes. So we'll see. You're going to see a lot of different things that maybe you have not known about the city of Dearborn Heights up until now. So we're excited to share this information with you. I don't think I probably haven't met a lot of people in the room, so at some point, I'd love to, have a chat with everybody and see what type of concerns that our citizens and our residents and business owners may have. So I look forward to talking to each and every one of you guys. So I'd like to thank, obviously.
As well, Chief.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to recognize, obviously, Councilman Saab, Councilman Ahmad, Councilwoman Breyer, for attending tonight. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Roger Farina, our city attorney, everyone knows who he is. And then, finally, Mayor Bazzi. So I'm going to introduce Mayor Bazzi. Come up here, have a couple words with our fine citizens here.
Thank you. Again, good evening. I know the chief, some of you were here, was about 2 weeks ago.
That's correct.
He presented some of the data, so he revised some of the data. But for the ones that were not here before, and some of you were here for a long time. You've been in this community for years. Some of you were born and raised in this beautiful city. So I want to tell you. So when I was first appointed, I've a lot of concerns that I've heard, over the years, and some of you here actually brought some of these concerns to me back when I was on city council, and when I was appointed in 21, so in January 21, I wanted to make sure that our police department was transparent, because a lot of the issues, a lot of concerns actually came from here. And most of you know I brought in a commissioner, God rest his soul, his name is Commissioner Thomas. So I brought him to the department to help out. He was he was a chief of 5 different cities. He was a PhD. He was also he was honorary 2-star general in the military. So he's been around. He went overseas. He was actually helping countries overseas develop, especially in the Middle East, establish a police department for the safety of the residents in several countries. So this is the person that I brought to help us with Dearborn Heights, to address some of the concerns and to help address some of the concerns the city of Dearborn Heights has. So he was here a few months, and we had a meeting with him. And he basically, his words, I can't repeat everything he said, but basically this place is messed up. And but that's not the words he used, because he was from the South. So the way he said it was very colorful. So he goes, I need help. We can't fix this by ourselves. So we again, I'm not here to talk about anybody, but I'm going to tell you that's the reason why I bought Chief Hart. We went different cities trying to find a chief to come in and help the city. And Chief Hart was highly recommended by several chiefs from the surrounding communities. And we were able to get him. We were lucky to have him here. And he came in, and both him and Commissioner Thomas were trying to help out with a lot of things. They were finding out a lot of things. There was a lot of investigations that were open. And they were, obviously, most of you have seen the papers, and he basically said, Commissioner Thomas died not too long after, with all the stress, everything that was going on. He passed away, God rest his soul. So Chief Hart was here by himself. We found a lot of, again, there was so much issues, so many concerns. We decided to, we started talking. And at this time, we had an issue on Warren. Somebody broke into a gun shop, took all these weapons, a lot of assault rifles. And Mr. Vanderplow was the special agent in charge. He had several hundred people that reported to him. He was a special agent in charge of the ATF. So he actually He came in as an ATF SAC. He helped a lot try to get most of these guns. So all the guns were pretty much accounted for. So that the gang that actually took those guns, they raided several gun shops in surrounding communities as well. So with his experience as a federal agent, so there's a big difference between a federal agent and, we'll talk about that another day. Big difference, federal agent and a law enforcement, local law enforcement. And I worked with both, and I've seen, this city needed both, so you can bring the best of both. And so we talked, and we basically said, Chief Hart wanted somebody to help him, do more things, policies, procedures. And there was a lot of things, like I said, needed to be changed, but a lot of non-transparency stuff. So Mr. Vanderplow retired not too long after, they fixed the issue or retrieved some of the guns that were stolen. Then we were lucky to have him. He actually came to Dearborn Heights not too long after he retired. I don't think he took one day vacation. He started right away with Dearborn Heights. And soon after, we needed, there's a lot of things, we had, there's a lot of, like I said, misinformation out there. A lot of misinformation. And soon after, we were able to get, Chief Swope right now. And so he came in also from, he was actually, I'm going to say it, I was not favored in Westland because he had 4 council members and the mayor at the time. They were really upset with me that I stole one of his top lieutenants at the time, right? So he was a lieutenant, and I went to an event. They were like really upset with me, like, hey, I can't believe you took a guy that was tapped to be the next chief, basically. And it's like, hey, can't help it. I care about my city. So, he came, we were lucky to have him also. And most of you already know, like I said, we've had a lot of issues, a lot of concerns, but there's a lot of misinformation out there. A lot of misinformation. There's a lot of, I'm going to be honest, again, I'm not a freaking politician. I'm going to say it the way it is. A lot of people, there's few people, there are a lot of great people we have in this community, but we have very few people in this city. They want to cause chaos. They want to put misinformation out there, which is really, really shameful, because at this time right now, with all the stuff that was going on right after COVID, we need to work together as a community. We're one community. It's not like, Polish community, Arab community, Hispanic, African American. It's one community. This is my community, Dearborn Heights. And when I took an oath, I didn't just take an oath for the city of Dearborn Heights. I took several oaths before that, to defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And that's the way my mentality is. I want to defend the city, because this is my city. I'll do everything at every cost to make sure I defend the city, especially against the misinformation that keeps fed into residents. Just something happened the other day also, and the chief is going to talk about it. Somebody took something that was so, like something great for the community, that we're going to do something huge, and somebody put bad information and caused chaos in the city, with a bunch of people, which led somebody from the community to put something on social media, trashing, the administration and the police department. Totally, totally unacceptable. Because those people, again, they're instigators, and they want to cause chaos in my city. And, I'm not going to accept it. And, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that stuff gets corrected. But I want to reiterate, some of the stuff that, the chief's going to be talking about. Way back when Chief Hart came in, he was really connected with different agencies. So he talked to the Department of Justice. Most of you know the Department of Justice. This is one of the highest departments that has law enforcement in the United States. And I've seen him work with different departments all over the United States. And I've seen him overseas, actually work with countries overseas trying to establish their police department. So we were lucky with the help of both Chief Swope, Mr. Vanderplow, and Chief Hart. We got these guys for free. Normally, one person from the DOJ charges between $400 to $600 an hour. Yeah, $400 to $600 an hour per person. There was one time we had 12 of them here, and they come here periodically. They've met some of the residents that are in here, and basically they want like input, like what do you guys want from this community? So they put policies, procedures, and they've been working on it for the last, what, year and a half or so. And we were lucky to bring them here, and they're paying for it. We're not paying a penny for that. They're giving us money. They're sending police officers training, different states. Colorado, they sent a contingency over there. They had some of our officers in Colorado do training. And Baltimore, they just sent a few officers over there not too long ago, and they paid for it. And they're trying to help us get some grant. Because why? Because they like the leadership in the department. They like what's going on in this city. And they like the passion that we have for the city. That's why DOJ is here. And I can tell you, they told me that. If these guys are not here, they're gonna pack their stuff and leave. And if you guys know, there's a word called consent decree. Consent decree is a lot of departments that there's I don't want to use the wrong words, but mischief, or departments that are not doing what they're supposed to do. They go into consent decree. Consent decree that's when DOJ, same team of people, they will come in and they'll take over your police department. There's nothing anybody can do about it. The only thing you got to do is you give them a blank check. So whatever they want, they write a blank check. They write a check to whatever they want, they think they need for that city. That's how consent decree is. There's several cities that we know of right now is under consent decree. They've been on consent decree for years. Each year it costs them $3 to $4 million. That's just their fee, not to run the department. That's just their fee, $3 to $4 million a year. So this is what we're trying to avoid. And a lot of stuff that we did here in the city, this is our city. Before this leadership came in, it pretty much justified a consent decree. But you know what? That's why these guys are working hard, trying to help our city, trying to bring us. And one of the things, I can tell you, the second day on the job, when I was appointed, I had an all-hands meeting with the leadership team. And I pretty much laid out my vision that I've been working on for years, Because, I was in the military, most of you already know me. I had 21 years in the Marines. I'm an aeronautical engineer, I have a master's degree. And, I had a lot of training, world class. This is something that I believe in, world class. I want our city to thrive, do better, much better. I want to have a world-class police department. I want to have a world-class city. I want people to use our city. This is going to be a destination, not just to live in, to work in, to retire from. That's my vision. And one of the things that, I lost my train of thought, but when I came in, I said, I have zero tolerance, because everybody that used to come to me, they used to say like, this person did this person did that, this person in PD, they try to set me up, they did this, they planted this, and I'm like, all this stuff's stopping today. So I had zero tolerance policies I put out, like I said, second day on the job, first thing in the morning. My Mariana was the chief of staff. She came in the second day I got here, had an all-hands meeting with the leadership, and that's what I laid out. I gave everybody my vision and my mission statement. Zero tolerance, no bullying, no discrimination, no harassment. That's one of my statements. And everybody took notice of it, and I want to make sure that our city is a city like anybody that wants to thrive in. Again, I went too long in here, but I just wanted to let you know, because again, there's a lot of misinformation, and my door is open, so anybody that has an issue, concern, don't look at social media when somebody says, oh, blah, 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 this here. You call me anytime, call the chief. He'll set it straight. Like something, like I said, happened a couple days ago, like somebody put a bad statement out, and we heard about it, and I know Mr. Farhat was at 2 local establishments today trying to talk to some religious leaders because of one person that created some chaos, trying to cause chaos in my city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, so, we'll get started. And the number one thing I think that I want from, our department is for our citizens to be able to trust the police department, right? I'm not a political guy. I don't police by politics.
Washington,
Pickpocket. Right in the police department, yes, thank you. That's embarrassing. Can't take you anywhere.
So I don't want to police by politics or there should be no special favors, nothing. I'm a police officer, right? And everyone that works in this building, or most people, are police officers. And we have to live by just the law of we're doing police work, right? So we can't, I know there's a lot of political stuff in the city, and we'll leave that to the politicians to take care of, and the police department's going to take care of police department business, right? So like I said, the number one thing is trust. So I know recently, within the last few days, there's been some incident or some issues that are going on in the community talking about how the police department can't be trusted because they're acting certain ways, right? We're targeting certain members of our community. And before I get to the good, to the data and to show the positive things, we'll just talk about that situation where the police department is under attack and our credibility is under attack. And it's not just me, right? It's just the police department in general. Great people here, trying to do the right thing. We're not perfect, but with that being said, we also don't target anybody. Okay, so just to get this over with now, instead of having everyone look at me all meeting, wondering what truly happened recently, is another day. So on the 9th, we got a complaint from a citizen up in our northeast section of our city that called the police and said that there's cars on their street. They're burning rubber, squealing their tires, doing stunt driving, circles, blowing stop signs, just driving crazy, right? Horrible stuff. I seen the videos. The citizen sent me the videos, and I was very disturbed. So I immediately took action. So I responded to the citizen. Our officer went out there and we saw the vehicles that were reported, but they were parked. So they weren't moving anymore, so we couldn't do much about that, right? So I responded to the citizen personally after she sent me this email, and I told her, give me a couple days, I'm gonna do some surveillance, right? I'm gonna do some surveillance, I'm gonna ID drivers, and I'm also gonna ID the cars, because people who are acting like that in our community and endangering lives of our citizens and just terrorizing people within our city, they need to be held accountable, and we're going to send a message. So I told my lieutenant of our detective bureau that we need to take care of this ASAP, right? I have all this documented. I could show you right now if I wanted to, but I think we're going to talk about it instead, okay? I emailed him, we need to take care of this ASAP, as soon as possible. Next day, I run into him in the hallway. We come up with a plan on how we're going to surveil this area, and we needed to grab personnel so we can take care of business and protect our citizens. So we put an overtime call out, and inside the overtime, so we send emails or text messages to our officers requesting that they come in and work overtime if they want. So this detail was specifically targeting ordinance, traffic, those types of issues up on this one certain street. So the overtime goes out, and it says, we're looking for officers who's we're going to target a certain area, an ordinance, traffic enforcement, strict zero tolerance policy. And that was supposed to be for the 10th and the 11th, okay, the 10th and 11th of April. So we put the email out to get officers to come in and protect our citizens. And before we know it, we received an email. The mayor received an email. Other council people also were CC'd, talking from another councilman who was talking about how the police department is targeting Arab Americans on a Muslim holiday, and that it's shameful, and our officers should be ashamed of themselves, and so on. And if anyone wants a copy of that email, I'm sure you can FOIA it. And it just wasn't a good email. Our police department is trying to protect lives, right? And we get an email talking about how we're out there targeting members of our community with no proof, no evidence, no nothing. All right, we don't do that, okay? So I responded. I think everyone responded. So we had our detail yesterday. We identified some of the cars that were involved in this incident, and we're out there probably right now as we speak, trying to see what we can do and impound cars and make arrests and write tickets. okay? The email also talked about how we're trying to target people for illegal parking yesterday, right? We didn't write one parking ticket yesterday, right? So not one, zero. So that wasn't the case. So I just want everyone to know that just because there may be something on social media that says or accuses the police department of something, it doesn't mean it's true. Feel free to call up here, all right? Feel free to come up here. You know, I'm always willing to talk. And I hope it was a misunderstanding, right? I truly do. I really hope it was a misunderstanding, and then we can work together and get past some of these things, because it's important that we do that, because I'm here to police the city, not be involved in politics.
I have a question, sir.
Yes, sir.
We don't have a surveillance unit, we don't have a special ops unit in the department,
No, we don't.
we're not a narcotics unit? Just something.
We have officers assigned to the DEA. We have one officer assigned to the DEA. Okay, we also have a gentleman that works on surveillance on a task force with Dearborn, or several officers in this community. Yes, we do.
So we use overtime for surveillance?
We use overtime for all types of
The email
things.
said over emission.
So,
The email that responds to that.
yes, so police departments use overtime for all types of things. And it's not just this police department, it's many police departments.
So
So
how much,
when-
my question, I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
have
go
a
ahead.
follow-up questions to it.
Sure.
How much overtime a year do we use for such overtime? And why don't we have a special ops unit or undercover unit to do such things? If we're using so much overtime, why don't we amend the budget to
Well,
have those units? Because we had those units and the police department completely got eliminated. We also were almost 40 officers. And all those units were eliminated. So the question is that if we're doing surveillance on people and we're taking people for overtime, why aren't we assigning them departments? Why aren't we going to the
There's a
departments?
lot of questions here, but let me,
Yeah, why don't we wait till you do the presentation and we'll
Roger,
get back to your
please.
question, only because it's going to be answered by what you're going to see. Just-
I agree with the attorney.
So let's-
I think we all want to hear the
Hey,
presentation.
I'm sorry, the stats have nothing to do with what I'm asking.
Yeah, it
This is
does,
about a
actually.
certain issue on the email about yesterday, and I'm just trying to clarify.
Let me answer real quick.
Sure.
When we use COMPSTAT, we use data-driven policing, we don't need some of the units we used to have, okay? And once I'm done going through these stats, if you have further questions, I'll answer them, right? I'm transparent, so, you know, we can talk, I mean, you're a councilman, you're gonna see it.
And I'll probably say, I'm the one that sent the email.
And I'm going to chime in and say I'm a resident and I want to hear what the police officer has to say. So if your goal is to sit here and just politic back and forth,
No, this is not politics.
there's a lot of residents here who are really sick of that. So I really, really appreciate it if you let the man give the presentation.
Sure.
I bet you he's going to let you ask questions
And
after.
it's exactly about what he's asking, what he's talking about.
So we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about how we're reducing crime by using our current manpower. We'll even talk about some hiring and retention, some good things that are happening in the community. As long as we don't, you know, continue to have people in our community that want to cause havoc, then we will be successful. Actually, I'm going to be successful no matter what. And the people who are causing havoc, they'll be just off on their own, right? Because momentum will gain followers, and people who want to create havoc will end up on their own. That's just the way it's going to be. So, with that being said, I want to talk about our police. I know Mayor Bazey talked about some issues, right, that the police department had in the past, right? I'm not going to talk about them forever, but what I am going to say is, yes, the police department has some issues, right? And we came in here, Chief Hart, myself, and Director Vanderpump, and we used the best policies, practices, and procedures in policing from our experience as police officers. And what we did is we found out what the problem was, we solved the problem, and then we're moving on. Our officers right now currently, I love them, they're great. They're doing a great job, all of them. They're doing a terrific job. Do we have issues sometimes? Of course. You know, we have like over 100 and something people in this building. So there's gonna be issues, right? No one's perfect, our houses aren't perfect, our schools aren't perfect, nothing's perfect. So there will be issues, but the major things that were affecting negatively in the city, they're being eliminated very quickly. You guys should be proud of your police department because they're doing a terrific job. My officers work very, very hard, and I respect every single one of them. So, you know, we're going to get into the slides here. Daniel, if you can hit the first slide. So we're going to talk about, I know a couple people in this room were here 2 weeks ago, and we talked about some of the crime stats. It's not the same information, we updated it, and so you guys can sort of see you know, what it looked like last month compared to this month, to see that the way we police is truly working, right? It's truly working. So, but what we're going to go over is UDAs. Those are stolen cars, right? So those are someone's car that was stolen, or possibly we recovered a stolen car from like another agency. Maybe a car got stolen out of, you know, Redford, and it was dumped in Dearborn Heights. Larceny from autos. No one likes those. Those are bad. Drunk driving arrests, right? And not only drunk driving, but drug driving arrests. Weapon offense arrests. Crashes. And just talk a little bit about transparency. Like I said before, I'm really big on that. I don't like holding secrets. The more, I love giving out information if I can, okay? Probably sometimes too much, but I don't care. I have nothing to hide in my life. You know, I've done a great job in 46 years of living, so there's nothing that I can hide from you guys that embarrass me. So, Daniel? So what we looked at briefly, you know, Corporation Counsel Farina keeps stats on some traffic cases and some criminal cases, and he's going to go talk about those maybe in a little bit if we have time. But you know, he's doing a great job with managing the cases over in the court to make sure that people are being held accountable for committing crimes within our jurisdiction. Okay, so let's talk about UDAs in 2024. So in 2024, our UDAs, our stolen cars, they're down 34% compared to 2023. So if you see the bottom here, we talked about in 2024, there's 61 UDAs. Last year at this time, there's 93. That's a huge improvement. That means our police officers are doing a great job, right? That's a 34% decrease in UDAs. You know, that's a big deal, right? People are stealing cars all over the place in this country, especially in this Metro Detroit area. And I bet you now a lot of places can see a 34% decrease. And what I believe that the major change is our officers working hard, and also we're going to the areas where we know the problems exist. Okay, Daniel, you have the comparison up next. Okay, so this is a comparison, 2023 versus 2024. All right, so you can see on that far map to your guys' left, there was this unit of stolen cars all over the city, right? You know, it was mainly, you know, we had some northeast section, and I'll move out of the way when I can. You know, over here we had, you know, a bunch in that corner down there by you know, like Cherry Hill and the border of Inkster. And if you look down on our south end, there was a bunch just all over the place. So that means there was a lot of foot traffic down there. People walking around, you know, just deciding to steal cars wherever they just wanted a car from. We picked up our enforcement, lots of lights on, a lot of traffic stops. We have to have traffic stops all the time because it keeps criminals away, right? They see lights, they go to Garden City, they go to Westland, they go to Redford or Romulus, right? So the lights come on, we do traffic stops, okay? If you can see down here in the south end, it looks a lot different, right? So a lot of the UDAs, a lot of the stolen cars, they're on the borders, right? So they're down on the south, right? So this means we're doing a lot of traffic stops around here, right? Because it keeps people out of our neighborhoods, right? So the more people see police lights on Van Born, they're not going to cross Van Born. They're going to stay like right on Van Born, right? They're not going to come into Dearborn Heights because they see too many police cars. And that's just the way COMPSTAT works, okay? You know, one of the problems we have right now is this northeast section. You know, the borders, you know, Detroit, right? We're trying to combat that. You know, it's down from last year, but that's not good enough for me. That's not acceptable for me. So what we're going to do is we're going to increase our efforts in that area by more enforcement. And this is also the area where those guys in these really expensive cars were driving like fools, right? Chances are those cars were stolen, right? And this is where those people were driving when I got that email from the citizen over there, right here. So what's that say? That says that possibly could be them in stolen cars. Maybe they're the ones stealing this. So when we solve this crime of these people driving like fools and make arrests, this will probably go down, right? And we'll see next month, because I'm sure we're going to find these guys. Okay, Daniel, you can move on. So we're gonna talk about larceny from autos. Once again, our officers out there doing a great job using data-driven policing to make sure that crime stats stay low. All right, and these are, everything is scientifically researched by our crime analyst over there, Daniel Eshu, does a great job. To date, LFAs are down 59% compared to last year. 59%, that's a lot, right? So just to talk about the numbers, year to date in 2024, we got 42 of them, right? Year to date, 2023 last year, there was 102. That's a 58% change. 42 is still too much for me, right? I'm sure one is too much for you guys, I understand that. Right? If it's your car, it's a horrible, horrible thing to be victimized and have someone come through your property and take something that you own. You work hard every single day and someone victimizes you. We don't like that, right? Even though I'm proud of this number, I'm not proud of the fact that there's 42 of them still. But it's just, we can't get that to zero, but I want to get as close as I possibly can. So we talked about the areas. Once again, right, they're all over the place. All over the place, right? So we got all the police cars making lots of traffic stops, bad guys coming through, they don't like what they see, so they move on somewhere else, right? It decreases the victimization of our residents. All right, Danny. OWI arrests. You guys are really going to like this one. All right. So year to date in Dearborn Heights, our OWI arrests are up 267%. 267%, not 26.7. 267. So this year, as of 4/10, we have 99 OWI arrests. That's a lot. All right. I would put that stat up against percentage-wise against any city in the nation, right? I mean, that's a lot of an arrest, of drunk driving arrests. Last year at this time, we had 27, right? So we went from 27 to 99. That comes from officers working hard, data-driven policing, and good leadership, right? Not only for myself, but for my sergeants that we just promoted for, right? The lieutenants that are administratively assigning officers to certain areas of the city to make sure that crime is down for the citizens, right? So we have great leadership throughout the whole agency, right? So I'm excited about that. All right, Daniel. So weapons and drug arrests. This is one percentage that I like to see go up, right? So some people would think, oh my God, we arrested weapons offense went up by 69%, right? Well, yes it did, but these are arrests of people in our city with weapons. Okay, that means our officers are working hard. They're searching vehicles, right? They're making sure that the traffic that's driving down Michigan Avenue from, maybe another jurisdiction to another jurisdiction. They're driving through our city for just a brief mile, but we're stopping them with guns and drugs, right? And we don't allow that stuff in Dearborn Heights, and it shows that we don't. Our weapon arrests, we're up 69%. Drug arrests, 157%, right? Drugs and firearms didn't just automatically appear in our city when this current administration walked in. It was always here, right? It's always here. It's just a matter of making sure that the data-driven policing points our officers to areas where we know there can be problems. And we increase our arrests by 69% and 157%. All right. We actually had one yesterday, right? We sort of combined this, right? We had a vehicle driving on, I think it was like Warren and Lanphier, driving erratically and smacked into a pole. And the driver got arrested for drugs and then also for cocaine possession. We also got someone for fentanyl yesterday. I mean, it was a great day yesterday.
This is very interesting.
Yeah.
So when you say arrested, are these people that they get arrested Dearborn Heights residents or coming from?
Yeah. And what I can do is this, and Daniel, can we in the future put together some data on where our arrestees are from?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, we could do that. And in my personal experience of seeing some police reports and seeing some data, is that a lot of our crimes within our city occur from people not from our city, right? So they're traveling through, they're coming from, Detroit with drugs to go sell drugs in Inkster and driving from Inkster with guns to Detroit. And we're just good enough so we can grab them in the meantime. Because you know what? What if they stop at the gas station and rob our residents? No, that's not happening. We're going to stop them. We're going to arrest them before they can do that. Thank you. So crashes. I was a traffic bureau sergeant. I ran the traffic bureau West Line for a long time. And what I noticed, and I'm sure if we're all here years from now, I'll continue to show these stats, but accidents pretty much stay the same year to year, right? It sounds weird, but I'm sure the statistician over here with the person doing all the stats will tell you that if there's 2,000 accidents in the city one year, chances are there's going to be just one side. There'll be the same amount next year, and that's pretty much what we see. This just shows you 405 in 2024 and 402 in 2023. So it's real close, right? And the reason being is if we have a bunch of police officers here doing traffic enforcement, and a driver sees them, they're like, well, I'm going to slow down, right? But the second they pass the police officers, they speed up. They start driving like a fool again, and they end up getting in an accident. So most people, a lot of them, if they're going to get in an accident, they're going to get in an accident because they just drive horribly, right? Even though I believe that they're going to stay consistent, our goal is to keep reducing crashes, right? 7% counts, right? It's not 157%. But it's 7. It's 7%, and we enjoy any little win we can get. But this 7% plus another 7%, it adds up, right? Last year, crashes, for the totality of the year, crashes were down. The year before that, crashes were down. And when I say down, I don't mean by hundreds. They're down 50, right? But that's the way we have to get the trend going. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Are those numbers for the same period of time between January 1st
Yes.
and April 10 last year and this year?
That's
so
correct.
It's the same period, it's not for the whole year.
No, same days.
Oh.
Same days, yep. Everything you see, the same days. Yes,
I'm
Councilman.
sorry, I think there's a typo there, because it says down 7%, actually it went up, since we have 405 this year versus 402 from last year, so actually it went up.
Okay, so it went up 7%. That's a bad month, right? We own that, right? So we're going to do our best that, when we sit down here, and I thank you for, pointing that out. No one, like I said, no one's perfect. Daniel, we're going to talk later. But no, I like when people point out when we make mistakes. I like it. So we need to improve 7%. So now, it's bad, right? So we'll get better. Yes, ma'am.
I like the statistics. I think it's nice to show us. Is it possible to show how many of those accidents the people were impaired versus weather-related accidents? So obviously,
It is.
there's snow and ice.
It is possible. So Daniel, another note is in a future COMPSTAT, let's break down our accidents to show impaired drivers, hit and runs, weather-related. And we also, we do our COMPSTAT for our officers too. And we break down like rear end collisions, side impact. I know you guys really don't care about that, but our officers do. We had one yesterday where we talked about.
I will add,
Oh, yeah, distracted driving. Yeah, so we'll do that.
and we went to prosecution safety training last week. And throughout the state, the operating while impaired has increased. People are using, what you clean your computer with, they're inhaling that. And you have prescription drugs, you have the marijuana use, and people think they can drive safely. A lot of that happens during the day, and I believe is related to a lot of the accidents. So we have one of the top officers in the state of Michigan, number one, last year and the year before, for operating while impaired arrests. And he's working training. The Prosecutors Association has agreed to come and train our officers on how to identify operating while impaired drivers, which a lot happens during the daytime. The operating while intoxicated is at night. Operating while impaired during the day with the marijuana use. So we're working on increasing the arrests, and we're working on keeping track of and holding ourselves accountable in terms of the prosecution and the results of the prosecution. So we can keep tracking, and we're including that in our statistics.
Chief, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
those stats, do we have stats for those accidents? Are they Dearborn Heights drivers, or are they people driving through Dearborn Heights?
So that would be another thing that, I don't know if we can really break that down because it's a field where we type into that field. So, but I'll tell you, one of our accidents we had recently, because, we need accident, prevention campaigns, right? I think that's what we're probably talking about here.
That's the reason I'm
Yeah,
asking, because
yeah.
there's something we can do with the city.
Yeah, we can. I think we can work together, and I think it's very important that we get on our updating some signs, right? Some traffic control.
One of the campaigns too, we're working
Yeah.
on, so.
Yeah, you have a lot of drivers from here. You got a lot of the kids driving 92 in a 35-mile-an-hour zone. And we're even relooking at all our signs throughout the city and see if we need to lower the speed limits. But the traffic enforcement helps us target, at least half come from here, and they're young people. They're doing Michigan Avenue, Ford Road, and they're impervious to the actual consequences of driving that fast.
And then, obviously, all the prevention that we might do with education, it doesn't help. Like last week, it was the week before when there was we had a fatal accident on the south side of our city, and one of the drivers was from Detroit, and the other driver was from Ohio. So there wouldn't have been any amount of prevention we could have done to prevent that accident, because it's just they weren't from Dearborn Heights, right? So they wouldn't have got anything that we could have gave them. It was a horrible situation, and I hope that we can get that 7% up to 7% down for you, in a couple of meetings from now. So, anything else? So transparency. This is my push, right? My thing is I want a public facing dashboard so our citizens can see, complaints, use of force, all types of things. Whatever you think you want to see, I want to make it accessible, right? The DOJ Cops Office website, that's going to be, it's posted, on our Facebook page and whatnot, but you can Google Dearborn Heights, Dearborn Heights Cops Office, and it'll pop right up for you, okay? We'll also make sure that there's some hard copies on how to get to the website over at City Hall for, like maybe the next council meeting, or people can stop in and get these things. Power EMS policy website. So we have a public facing dashboard. Can you go to my screen? Just minimize that for a second. All right, so either way, the COPS office website is a big deal, right? So I want you guys to go there if you can and take a look. And what it does is the COPS office comes here every month, maybe for 1 or 2 weeks, a couple days out of the week, and they'll send a team and they'll look at our police department and say, let me look at your policies, let me look at your procedures, let me talk to every single officer here. And what they do is they gather information, they look at our data, they look at our police reports, they look at our investigations, they look at everything, internal investigations, and they then give us findings and recommendations on what we should do to make our police department better. They won't do the work for us, but they tell us, this is what I recommend you do to become a great police department. And then we do those things, okay? But the Power EMS policy website, that's going to be on the city website under a transparency area. And what that is all of our policies that we can release, right? We do have policies that are operational, where we talk about responding to a school shooting or those types of things. That's not going to be on that dashboard. We're going to restrict that. But all of our other policies that aren't operational related, that could possibly cause harm to someone, they'll be on that website. There'll be hundreds of them. We have hundreds of policies. So the police department website will also have the public-facing data, and then the crime mapping website through Clemis. So you guys can go on to the crime mapping website and just pick a certain neighborhood, maybe your house or maybe the whole city, and you can determine what type of crimes you want to look up. How many larcenies were there in my neighborhood last week? Or what crimes happened in Dearborn Heights yesterday? So those things are going to be available. We're also going to print out some charts, because I know not everyone is savvy on technology. So we'll print out some charts as maybe PDFs and put them on the website as well, so people can see, how many police pursuits did Dearborn Heights have last week? You know, how many drug arrests did they have? How many, you know, Caucasian people did Dearborn Heights stop last year? How many African Americans did they stop last year? Like all this stuff would be on that website.
Circle back to the courses.
Yeah, did you want to talk about the crime stats at all, Roger?
One thing that I find is that as a city, if you want to attract investors and people moving here, you have to have a city that's safe. One thing, and we can't do it without a police department that's actively involved. We have started tracking, it never happened from June, our number of defendants that are charged, what double parkings, if we can get pleas taking it as soon as possible and get justice or administered it right away. That helps us cut down on our load, but helps the police officers see that we're active and moving forward rather than delaying cases. That makes your city safer. And that means that we're holding ourselves accountable for you. And we track our statistics to see how we can improve, making things better. Number of defendants, if we have people not showing up for court, we're working on how can we get people to come to court. Sending it out by mail, notices by mail from the court is not working as much as if you have it on your phone and sending notices out in different ways and opening up new doors to try and reach more people. We, as a city attorney, the crime going down attracts more, I said, more investors. And we contacted the Lebanese Bar Association, for instance, to do a presentation, what's called EB5, which allows investors who can put $1 million or so into projects in the United States. It allows them to get a green card, and it allows them to get, for their family, kids under 21, wife, and also put money into a city. But the project they have to invest in has to create 10 jobs. Well, we have a number of projects here. Even a downtown, Dearborn Heights, is a good project to invest in. Eforce Creek, Rouge River, the different projects here in the city that we can attract investors into the United States. The other project we talked to is I mentioned a company or a philanthropic organization called Living Cities, which has given money to about 10 cities in the United States as grants, 15 million, 6 million, 100,000 for small businesses, as well as homeowners. Well, who writes about them? The Wall Street Journal, the New York Times has written about that. Why can't, and they're talking with us about looking at Dearborn Heights to do a small project with a number of our residents as well as our surrounding cities. Well, what does that do for us? It puts us on a map. Why can't we be open to the nation to let the rest of the country see what we're doing and what we're capable of doing? Well, what does that do? That attracts people to move here to the city. But we need a safety and we need a police department that's cooperating and working. So those are some of the projects we're doing, and we're, like I said, tracking ourselves. Thank you.
All right, so I'll just talk real quick about, yes, sir.
When you're talking about Clevis and all those other organizations, how often or how timely is that data updated?
So on the Columbus website, it's, if it happened yesterday, it's there today. So I would assume every so many hours they update their data. But I was looking at data today. I clicked the yesterday button and everything was there that I wanted to see. So pretty quick. In regards to use of force and complaints and whatnot, that will be on a normally police departments do them on an annual basis. And what we do, the best practices of policing, is we compile all the data and then we do a report. So it's a long report. It ends up being 50 pages about use of force and who we use force against, what type of force do we use, all this type of stuff. That was never done here before, but many police departments do it, and we are going to do it. And then we publish that, and it's all public information. So we don't put anything in that report that would be secretive, or we don't put anyone's personal information in there. It's just all information that we want the citizens to see. So various different reports, different timelines. There are cities that publish it every month. That might be something I'd like to do. It wouldn't be super fancy as a report, but it'd be like pie charts and whatnot. So I'll take some questions, but I just want to address, because I know it's going to be asked, some hiring questions. So yesterday we hired a dispatcher, so that's good. We're getting our dispatch stats up. We're hiring. They start on Monday, a week from, actually this Monday she's starting. And then a week from that Monday, we have another dispatch starting. So that's great. Our dispatchers do a terrific job. We answer our 911 calls 95% of the time within 10 seconds. That's like better than average, right? Way better than average. Yes, sir.
Since you're talking about the dispatch, will we upgrade the dispatch?
Yes, so we have many pieces of that upgrade that we're talking about. So we have some of the computer equipment that's already installed there, some of the software systems. What we have to do now is actually do the actual upgrades, like the changing of the room, the remodeling of the room, and those types of things. So
Has it been changed?
it's not changed yet. It's not changed yet. But
Because
we
I
still
know-
have the, yes, sir.
I know the city council budgeted 368,000 for the upgrade. And I think, politely, it's about that.
It's about time, and yes, it is, I agree with you 100%, and our girls, they, in it, I think we have one male dispatcher at this point, but they're excited about that upgrade, so, that's awesome that it was voted on by council to be able to get that done. I think the engineer was in here last week or the week before, making the final plans for it, so hopefully we can get it done soon, because it is overdue. It's overdue, but it's a lot better in there than it ever has been. It's a lot more technology, and it's a lot cleaner, and it's a good working environment. So we got those dispatchers starting. We interviewed 4 people yesterday we're just waiting to certify them on the list by X78. Once we get those people certified, we have 1 certified officer who's going to start, hopefully within the month, and then we have 3 of our cadets that are going to go to the police academy starting in May 30th, as long as they end up certified on the list. The thing about the police cadet hires, it's a great thing, because what happens is we hire a police cadet, and if they stay with us for 6 months, and this is a new program, all right, I worked this out with the X78 and the unions, and everyone got on board and thought it was a great plan. So if they stay with our department for 6 months, they're able to be put in process to hire as a police officer. They still have to go through the X78 process, but some of the qualifications that they would normally have to have would be reduced, because we already have them here, right? They also have to, before they're entered into the process, they have to have an interview with me or with Chief Hart, and they have to pass the interview, maturity, were they a good employee? Was their sick time good? Did they, violate policy, right? And if they did, then we don't hire them, right? So we have good things coming with hiring. So we're excited about that. I'm going to put together another list so we can interview more people, probably within the next couple, probably 3 weeks or so. So we're pumped up about getting more bodies in the door, because we've done a good job, at getting hires. We truly have. When I started here, we had like 4 or 5 police cadets. We have 20 now, right? That's where we should have been. We just weren't hiring them. Crossing guards, we had 6, right? Now we have like 15, right? Police officers, we lost, some police officers, right? Not 40. I know your number didn't have to be exact, but I think we all knew what you meant. We lost bodies, and everyone knows that, right? But at the same time, we are replacing them. There's certain reasons why people left. Some left for retirement, some left because they didn't like us, some left because they didn't like some of you, right? So it's just a combination, and I think we all own it. I'll take responsibility for it since I'm the acting chief of police. But I think we're making a comeback, and I'm really excited about the hiring process and how many people that we've been able to get in the door here, right? And I hope you guys can see that. So I'll open it up to some questions.
Question about speeders, and since you're talking about statistics. In the past few years, how many tickets for safety have we issued in the past 18 months based on the past 5 years or so? And why was it dropped? Because I live on a street which is a highway. We don't see enforcement. We see an average on an intersection right around the house at least once or twice a week because people speeding recklessly. If we're going to issue like a special detail to one part of the city, why isn't this detail throughout the city? Because it's literally a drag, it's drag street in the area of the drag street. people doing 70, 80 miles an hour. But unfortunately, I know we're short-staffed in officers. But if we're doing this, why don't we have TSP or full traffic unit back on the roads in the neighborhoods? Not on Ford Road, Warren, or Telegraph, or in the neighborhoods. That's where 90% of those speeders are, in the neighborhoods.
Yeah, so obviously I know it's concerning, and it's probably not good for probably everyone in this room, because they probably have speeders that go by their house. I have the same problem at my house, right? It doesn't mean it's okay. So, you know, I don't have the exact numbers of tickets. The number of tickets, I think in 2014, it was, I think, 28,000. 28,000 tickets, I think it was. And I think nowadays, we're probably down to, let's say, 14,000. All right, but I'll tell you what the main reason for that is the city, the police department had a quota system, all right, that they were using. So officers would come in on overtime, which is fine. You know, everyone does it. You're supposed to do it. We want to protect our citizens, so we create some details so our officers come in and enforce hazardous moving violations. But there was a quota system attached to our program, which was illegal. I think back in 2010, I believe it was, I was the union president or the vice president over in Westland, and I worked with Glenn Anderson and Norm Brooks, who was the president at the time of our union, and I actually worked on the law which restricted quota systems, made it illegal for police officers to be subjected to quotas or to make citizens subjected to quotas. It's not right. But with that being said, that's why our numbers were so high, right? So we're at 28,000 because an officer would come in, the city worked a 4-hour shift, they would have to write 9 to 12 tickets. And if they didn't do that, right, they would be banned from the overtime program. Totally illegal. Totally illegal. And it was in place all the way until I got here in January of 2023, right? So I immediately stopped that. Right? It was horrible. It's just not right. But with that being said, there is a place for overtime for traffic safety, and our tickets have risen dramatically. I think I spoke with the court a couple weeks ago, or let's say a month ago about, and I asked for the data on January's, February's, and I just got March's the other day, and our tickets have gone up by like 500 to 800 every single month for those past 3 months, which means our officers are out there doing a good job of making sure that we try and reduce traffic crashes, right? So we do direct people into the neighborhoods. You know, we do that. We identify problems. We send emails all the time, hey, hit this location, hit that location. If you guys have specific concerns on your block, I suggest you call in our dispatch. They're trained to write something down on a piece of paper, and we get it right to Daniel. He logs them on a map, and then we'll talk about them on a future COMPSTAT meeting. Yes, sir.
The speed monitor on John Day. People would use to drive like how you have to put the monitor and other things like that.
Slow down. Okay. All right. Yeah, so I mean, we do have a few, I think we have 5 of those in our city. And we probably need to try and find a way maybe to get some grants and get some more, because they do work. I went to Staffing Command a few years ago, and my study was on radar trailers and speed signs. And I'm no scientist, but from the data that I researched, it shows that it did work. Speed signs, they do work. So, you know, we will enforce violations on side streets, and you know, I suggest if you guys have problems, don't feel like you're a bother, call us. That's what we're here for, and we will put you on a list. And we can't be everywhere. I mean, the city's really big, but we will hit the spots. It might not be when you want us to, but we will do it. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. I think I don't so much have a question as I have advice. What you're saying right now is resonating with me, because for years and years it just felt like, why bother calling? Nobody's going to do anything anyways. So right now, if I picked up the phone and called you and said, you know, I've had 3 cars speed down the street in the last half hour, you may not be coming right out and going to chase those 3 drivers, but there's actually a process in place, from what you're saying, where that address is being put into a database. So maybe not today and maybe not tomorrow, but maybe in a couple of weeks, if enough people call, you're going to send someone to that street because you see a problem.
That's correct.
So the comment I want to make is maybe there are more people out there like me who don't even bother calling because we figure nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. And every single call we get is going to be tracked, is tracked by Daniel. And it becomes a heat map, right? So it's a map of the city, right? And every single time there's a report, it becomes a dot, right? And then, it's like a small dot. And then the more that happens, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. We know that the big stuff, we drive there and we take care of business, right? The small stuff, we care about the small stuff, but what's more important? The one complaint, yes it is, but the 50 complaints, right? We have to take care of that. That means someone's life is in danger, we gotta take care of that. So please call. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm like her. It's so commonplace, why even bother calling? Are there devices available that you can plant in a neighborhood, put like in a radar speed sign, where it can support or debunk any data that has been called in?
100%. So we have, we don't have, but police, I used to have, and we can get one here. So it's called the speed spot. That's what it's called. It's called the speed spot. So we put them up on poles, or we put them on a radar trailer, or we put them on a tree, and it counts traffic. It counts how many cars go by, how fast they're going. So if someone calls and says, traffic on my street is horrendous, everyone's driving 40 miles per hour. Well, we would put a device up, and we would count all the traffic, and I would be able to say, no, they're really going 27, or no, they're really going 56, right? But we don't have that technology. We need it, and maybe we find a grant or something for it.
And I'm keeping track of, like, Lansing is passing new legislation. One thing they're looking at is automatic prosecution. You can't take cameras and prosecute people, but they're looking for legislation which is coming out this summer to put cameras on the stop sign for buses, so they can track automated tracking of tickets for people going past buses or in school zones, which is some good legislation. There are also new legislation that came down. I was talking to the Detroit prosecutors about wheelies, speeding, drag racing, which is now giving us more power. We're going to do a training with the police department on the new changes. Child safety things. There's new legislation coming out, which we have to keep you updated, keep out the police department updated.
Chief.
Yes, sir.
So we're talking about statistics. First of all, thank you for putting this together.
Oh, yeah, my
It's
pleasure.
very important. Now, we're talking about the biggest problem we're having is speed right now. And I see every kid when they turn 16, it's not they have a driver's license, they have a car too. So I'm just wondering, what are the tickets that being issued for these versus the others? And that take me to, is there any communications with the schools here, at least to have a program to educate or try to put the word out for the teenagers, about speeding,
Yes.
and I hope that somebody is watching.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we had one previous school district. So I don't know if this is illegal or not, or if there's any communication with the
Yes.
schools. And this is one question. The second one is, I want to go back to the, excuse me guys. I know we go back to the beginning of the conversation. There's so much politics going on in the city here between the administration and the council, which is, I really thank the council being here tonight.
I'm glad
Yeah, I'm glad they're being here. I mean, we have respect for them. I mean, we are living in a crazy world right now. So trust me, there's a lot of support from the police department and the fire department in the community. And I take this opportunity to ask the honorable city council people here. I mean, it's healthy to have different opinions, but at least when it comes to, number one, the police department and the fire department, and ask them from the police department here, maybe one day they will come and they have the meeting in the police department for the council. So I would ask them to work closely with you here and keep the differences. The other stuff I don't mind it, but at least with the police department, this is our safety, this is our home, and we need to support the police department. So I hope the communication will go to a higher level to have the equipment if we need to get you the support. Again, thank you. Thanks for the mayor. Thanks for the city council as well. And we hope that we go into a higher level that we're working together. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So, I'll address your last, what you just said first. And you know, we have had some positive conversations between myself and the council, even recently. It's politically charged and it's wild, right? We all know this, right? And none of us likes it. They don't like it. I don't like it. It's uncomfortable for all of us. We all hate it. It's just, it is what it is right now, right? But, you know, I see Councilman Baydoun is walking in the building, so welcome to the show. But, you know, he reaches out to me quite often and asks for, yeah. No, I said hi to him too. But Councilman Baydoun reaches out to me quite a bit and comes up with, you know, hey, can you help us out here? There's some issues going on in this area, and we send an officer out right away and take care of business. You know, I talked to Councilman Tom Wenzel on the phone today about some issues, right? Councilwoman Breyer, I talked to her, and in the past I've talked to Councilman Ahmad about some things. So everything isn't lost, right? It's just we're going through a tough time, and I think we can get past it if we all can just stop with the, don't come at me with political stuff. Come at me with problems that I can help everyone solve, and I'm really excited. I hope that we can do that. So now I'll address your first part real quick about education with like speed. He asked about the speeders, the kids in the school. What type of tickets are they getting? They're getting whatever tickets the officers want to write. So maybe they write a speeding ticket. Maybe they do a double parking. So officers are human too, right? So they don't want to really get this kid in trouble with his parents and insurance, right? Because the kid does something stupid and the parent pays for it, right? With insurance, right? So we all have empathy and passion. You know, we build rapport with people in the community, and we just don't want to be looked at as people that are out there ruining insurance rates and punishing kids, and it's going to stick on their records forever. But if they do something bad enough, they get full vote. You know what I mean? They get that ticket, and the parents have to take care of business and take their cars away and do those types of things. And to answer the other part of your question, and this is also for Angela here, when we talk about school safety, I'm really excited. A couple weeks ago, I had Sergeant Suggs, who's our training coordinator. I instructed him to sign our 3 school resource officers up for team training. It's called TEAM, Teach, Educate, and Mentor. So what that is, it's ran by the state police. It gives our officers a guideline for every single grade, from kindergarten all the way up through 12th grade, on what we should teach our kids. And one of those things, it's not funny that you found the gun, but it's coincidence. Angela found a gun on the side of the street. What would have happened if a kid would have picked that up, right? Bad things probably, right? But once again, I've got team training, and one of my presentation was truly on a kid found, and it's a presentation that MSP gave me, so I had to give it to my peers, right? A kid found a gun, like a 6th grader, found a gun on a baseball field. What to do? So we teach the kids, what do you do if you find a gun? So we are going to do that. We have training May 25th, I think, on that. We also were adding a 4th school resource officer to Star Academy, so that's going to be a good thing too. So that's, I'm pumped up about that.
I think you need to educate the parents too.
Yeah, we'll get to them in a second.
Seriously, I mean,
yeah.
Parents don't understand when they buy their kid a car with 700 horsepower. It's like walking out the door with a loaded gun. A 16-year-old doesn't know how to handle a car with that much power.
Well, they don't, but it's up to the parents to talk to them about that, because you know we're not the financial police either. You know what I mean?
I'm talking
yes,
about
ma'am.
Well, hit them in the pocketbook to change your mind.
I have a comment more than a question. I will preface with I'm not a local resident, so I don't live in Dearborn Heights. However, I do work, I manage a healthcare facility. I manage a healthcare facility locally, so I did have some concerns with crime rate and a lot of things that you see in the media. I had actually brought it up to my friend here, Nadia, and she enlightened me about this event, this meeting that is happening. So it's really nice to see all the statistics you guys are providing, but excuse me, as you can tell, I'm a little bit nervous. I don't do public speaking, but the statistics that you guys are providing and your transparency, I think, is really important. You're handling all the criticism really well, and just kudos to you guys. Keep up your work.
Well, Well, I appreciate the comment. You did good. You're better at public speaking than I am, so good job. Yeah, there's houses for sale in Dearborn Heights. I think we're going to auction some off soon, so you're more than welcome to get in on the mix here. It's a great city. Yeah, data-driven. Daniel's doing a great job. Data is very important to me, very important to the city. We currently, through the COMPS office, today and tomorrow, we have experts in, subject matter experts, that are actually sitting down with them, right next to them, right next to them, and they're working on pulling up all this data and giving them further training for free on how to get better at this, right? We're going to break it down and really be able to solve problems for people.
Chief, question right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chief, for putting this together.
Sure.
My question to you is, and just to, put the things to rest, yes, I enable, anytime I reach out to Detective Chief Smoke, he has always delivered and responded, so I thank you for that. And this isn't about anything politically driven, this is about the residents at the end of the day. But my question to you is, the same thing that I hear every single time, I think every single person here says, I think there's even a resident that says, 414 Sheehan Highway. And everybody is always basically speaking about people that, well, let me go back. In Dearborn Heights, when I got my license in 2006 or 7, 2008, actually my dad let me drive until I was 18. But if you didn't stop on a stop sign for 3 seconds in Dearborn Heights, no matter what, you got a ticket. There was the golden rule. If you were in Dearborn, you were able to roll the stop sign in Dearborn Heights, stop. You're going to get pulled over if you roll the stop sign. Now it's become in Dearborn Heights, you can zip through a street, you can go down Docksville where you got these multi-million-dollar homes, or you can go down Annapolis where, at past midnight, and you know that there's a long stretch, and you can gut it down there, no cop's gonna stop you. And I know that sometimes it's difficult to be at every single spot at once, but I can tell you guys, like I said in the beginning, when I've reached out to Chief Swope saying, hey, in this neighborhood, these cars are getting broken into, you gave me data showing that things slow down, and now that, I think it was off of Rosemary and Cherry Hill,
Yes.
they're no longer seeing that type of issue. So I thank you for that. My question is, what steps are we going to take now that, the weather's about to break? I have a resident here tell me I'm always listening to loud mufflers, no matter what happens. They're flying up and down Beach daily. School's about to get out soon. And look, I believe our, what's his name, Chief Hart has always said, it starts with the parents, it starts at home. We need to also enforce it a little stronger, a little harder, hit them in their pockets. I know sometimes these officers are making a discretion saying, we don't want to hurt these children because of, the taxes or their insurance is going to go up. Well, they're not going to learn unless their insurance goes up. Their parents aren't going to fix their car or stop giving them these expensive vehicles because, if insurance is cheap, take the scat back. Expensive is high. Driving this Neon or this Chrysler or this smaller vehicle that's not as well.
Yeah, no, you have a great point. And I think one of these future meetings, I'm going to invite the court over, not invite because they actually own half of the building, so they can just walk over on the side of the hallway. But we'll invite the court over and they can talk about, the accountability piece over at court and what they have seen. I talked to Katie Shaw yesterday, who is a, what's her official title? She's like the deputy director, deputy clerk of the court. And she stated that what she has seen recently is the most activity she's seen in a long, long time. So I'm proud of my officers to make sure that they're doing the right thing. But to answer the councilman's question is, let's talk about the noise. So I know the noise is a problem. I hear it driving down Michigan Avenue all the time, and I don't like it either. So we bought, at the end of last year, proactively for this year, we bought decibel readers. We bought 5 of them, so I think we have like 6 or 7 total now. So we're gonna have opportunities for our officers to go out there and use a decibel reader and write violations to people who are driving these cars that are way too loud. Because even if you have a nice, really a scat pack or something like that, the decibels, if you're driving the speed limit, the decibels shouldn't be over a certain amount, right? So the faster you go, the louder your car is allowed to be. And I'm gonna have to look up the law on what decibel it should be, or you guys can Google that as well. But it allows for cars to be a little cool, right? But not too cool. Okay.
It's 60 decibels.
It sounds about right. It sounds about right. Yes, sir.
I have a question. So when you're saying you invite the courts over, why can't the police department do such a campaign where if you're caught recklessly driving through our neighborhood, where we seize your car, we tow your report to, And, you know, that's a start, because like Councilman, Council Chair Bedun said, when you hit people in their pockets, they slow down. Our neighborhood policing, if we can have, you know, a unit assigned to that in the neighborhoods. Doesn't have to be every day. It could be a few days out of the week where, you know, weekends, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, for example. Where, again, I live off of John Day, and it's a speed limit. And it's people drag race on both sides of the street going the opposite way. There's kids that walk from Conrock, from Crestwood. It's an issue. I understand the cops can't be on every single street in the city, but we do not. I know the officers are always caught up with calls and everything, but especially in the summer, the highest priority is neighborhoods. Because when residents here, and Mr. Vezzi himself, every time he comes to council, he says the street is a highway. We don't have enough enforcement in the neighborhoods. So we see officers on the Fort Bill doing a great job. We see them on Warren helping out with the schools, great job. But in the physical neighborhoods where people actually live, that's where they're getting away with things. If we can start a campaign on council, we can support it with the courts and make an ordinance where if you're getting a call going 50 and a 25 or 55 and a 25, we take your car and seize it until you're reporting, until total.
Let's do it.
Because you got towing, you got everything you charge, the parents is gonna pay, they're gonna pay a high price. But at the end of the day, when you do that, you're not feeling bad for the kid, you wanna be saving his life.
I was just talking about the human aspect. Yeah, it's good, you have a good point, Councilman Saab.
Because Dearborn, I'm sorry to interrupt you, I believe Dearborn did it, I believe West End did it.
Yeah. This is what I was trying to do the other day. You know what I mean? This is what I was trying to do the other day when maybe you had a misunderstanding with the overtime detail.
No,
Right? So that's what I was trying to
The
do.
overtime detail, I understand it's you're saying it's in one area of the city.
Yeah.
But we have, and listen, I'm not pointing this and people might take me wrong for this. A lot of it is Arab American kids with high-end cars going through neighborhoods.
It's
all
kids.
And
I'm gonna-
It's a lot of adults,
I think,
too.
I'm just saying,
Honestly, I agree, but a lot of kids out of school, they come out of school, they're hyper, leaving at lunch. But you see cars getting hit in the rear ends from them speeding. You see cars just running stop signs.
I think the problem is big, and as you said, I'm just gonna say that we approached to try to get a juvenile court going. It was initially denied. Kim Worthy and I met at the end of February to really start getting into the schools and do a diversion program. I've met with Bob Heimbach and Hervé Jenkins, who we were prosecutors together, about how we can do programs that really aren't getting downtown to deal with the parents and the kids. I've met with the superintendents of all the schools twice to help get this program. We're organizing it, but you're right, the parents fight the school, or they fight and defend the kids, not really understanding, like when we grew up, that you don't want to get your parents involved because you would take the consequences. Here they're defending the kids. So there is a program, it's part of this, will include what you're talking about, but also bringing the kids here to court. Judge Turpie and I have talked about it. We're organizing how to do it, but holding the accountability here, instead of the schools handling it and slapping them on the wrist in the school. So it's a whole program that we are looking at, and we welcome your help.
So just to follow up to your question about the season the cars, because that will play a big role, because kids will learn if something's taken away from them.
I ran the auto theft unit for the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office for a year. Seizing the cars, vehicle seizures, push off, the purchase and use of streets and highways, opt for forfeiture. I'm very familiar with it. We're going to implement it.
Is it something, that we can introduce?
Can I ask that the councilman maybe sets up a time to meet with the chief and ask his questions?
Yeah, it's not a problem.
And let the rest of the community participate? You're grandstanding.
It's okay. My thing is, Rogers, I'm asking is this car thing that I'm talking about, seizing cars, upholding cars for a court date, is it something legal that the city can do?
Yeah, in fact, I was meeting with Detroit on that, and when I was running the push-off, working with the push-off, we seized 20,000 cars in 1 year. Okay, so I'm familiar how to do it, and we were working on that. We've got to get into the schools and then get to, because every school in Detroit, when I was running all of that, we had about 16, 20 kids in the school stealing cars. We had kids from 9 years old stealing cars. So the other part of it is drag racing and the competition with the kids. So I'm familiar with it, we just have to figure out.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with it. You know, now they changed the forfeiture laws in Michigan, so now we need a conviction. Before we could just take it,
Right.
They can pay us money, they can have it back. Now we have to actually take it, they bond it out, they take it out of the impound lot, and then we have to wait for a conviction, and then we can then petition a forfeit and vehicle if the judge allows it. So yes, that's an option, and we are going to start forfeiting vehicles, you know, for certain things. Yes, ma'am.
And all the prosecutors are frustrated. We were just talking about that last week, about what we have to go through now to forfeit the cars.
It's tough, but we will do it. We're not afraid of hard work.
So just an idea, the SROs obviously don't work in the summertime. Could we get those SROs, since we don't count them being on the road right now in your plan, be neighborhood patrolmen, so that SRO would do neighborhoods basically only during the summer months?
Yes.
It's just a thought.
Yeah, so that's you know, that's a good idea. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but it's not, we have a strategic plan that we have, right? So a lot of times our officers, for school resource officers, even though the contract says they can have certain days off, so many days off a year, they can't be restricted on certain days, they're great officers, they do great for the community, and they decided what they are going to do is stop taking a lot of time off during school year so they can protect their kids, right? So they make sacrifices that are given to them through the contract, and they serve the community during the school year. And then when summer comes, that's when they're able to really catch up on some of the time off. But with that being said, we also are starting more youth programs where we're going to have a youth police academy, that type of stuff, so we can engage the youth, get them in as cadets, hopefully get them as police officers, or whatever they want to do. But we really want to start those programs by using it in our, there's nothing better than having a fully trained SRO running your youth academy. And it takes a lot of work to prepare that because it's like, you know, a couple week long academy. But, you know, we have other things in plan, and maybe we'll talk about it in a couple weeks when we come back, and I can bring in our structure, the way I want the police, not the way I want it to look, the way it's going to look. And just to give you a little heads up, is like the detective bureau, and I'll talk about this one only, just because I could be here all night talking about those. But our detective bureau is going to be broken up into 4 districts, right? So each city is going to be 1 district, 2, 3, 4. Right now it's like 6 or 7, right? Maybe 8. Too many. It's just wild. So we've broken up into 4 districts. Each district is going to have a sergeant detective, an officer detective, a traffic bureau officer, and a community, we talked about the community police officer, I think you did, a community police officer in that district, right? And then also an operations support aide, which is a civilian who just does paperwork, picks up videos, picks up witness statements, and makes the detectives and the officers' jobs easier. So the officers can do sworn police work, right? So that's what it's going to look like. We'll have 4 districts, almost like 4 different police departments. So let's say Ms. Kavinsky has an issue in her neighborhood, a speeding issue. You know, we send a community police officer, talks to her, speeding up and down the street. He goes back and tells the traffic bureau officer, you and I need to go here and take care of this problem. Hopefully the problem ends, right? If not, they write up a report, gives it to the officer detective says, oh yeah, we have enough here. He writes a ticket, right? If the guy continues to do it, you know, he gives it to the sergeant detective and says, oh, now this guy did a felony. I'm going to do a paperwork downtown on this guy now, right? So that's our plan, right? And I think it's going to be great. And I think it's going to serve you guys well. And we can get further into those plans maybe in a couple meetings from now. And you know, I think it's going to be a big deal for the community. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. I just want to add to whatever Council Chair mentioned that I always used to reach to the chief and he was always jump on the job. But the only reason I don't reach out now, I want to reach to the mayor with the recommendation of the Court Council. That's the only reason. But I'm looking for an update. I know we met like a year ago, me, yourself, and Chief Hart. And you know me, I'm all about diversity and learning about all people who lives in the city and serving all people. Doesn't matter where they come from. So we talked about you guys have an advisory board. So how does the advisory board look right now? Does it represent all people in the city?
So the advisory board. So are we talking about the implementation committee that we did form that? So
Chief Hart mentioned you have an advisory board that advises them about, because I mean he did mention that we lack learning about diversity in the city and learning about the people who live in the city. So how does that diversity board look?
So we've made a lot of steps, in the police department for that, right? Our hiring is diverse. If you were to look at, the photos of all of our officers, I mean, we have everyone here, which is awesome. I think we have one of the most diverse police departments, definitely in the area. I mean, it's great. So we have implementation committee. That's one of the boards that we have, and everybody's on it. Okay. So, I mean, it's sort of, there's Arab officers, there's white officers, there's females, there's males. So there's everyone on this committee. And what they do is they bring up, it's their committee. So they bring up what they want to bring up, right? And they work together to solve problems. Whether it's an internal problem or an external problem out in the community, that's why it's called implementation. So they find a problem, they implement a solution, we support it, we go about our business. But we also have increased our training. Sergeant Suggs has been assigned training, doing a great job, like I said. Anti-bias policing, right? Everyone's being trained in that, right? Cultural diversity, training in that. Morals, ethical law enforcement, 21st century policing, constitutional policing. All these things are things that we brought to the police department that they had before, but it really wasn't good. They watched some videos, an hour video, and oh, I got trained. Well, no, we bring in instructors to train people on these things. And I'm not saying that the police department was horrible before. I'm just saying that with the times, we update everything, right? We update our technology. We update our cell phone every 2 years. You know what I mean? We update these microphones. So I appreciate the question. We're doing what we can to make sure that we have the appropriate diverse population within the police department, and hopefully everyone's learning about other cultures. Everyone isn't going to automatically know about people's cultures. You know what I mean? I don't know, before I got to Dearborn Heights, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know a lot of the culture here. I just really didn't. I worked one city over, right? And it doesn't mean, I'll get with you what next. It doesn't mean I don't care, I don't empathize or care about or respect the people in the community. It's just I need to learn, just like anyone else, on what's appropriate. I go to officers all the time. Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Is it going to cause issues here or there? And I do that all the time. And I just talked to your question is a good question, because I talked to one of our officers, Officer Hamoudi. He does a great job for us. I talked to him today, and he volunteered to actually come up with another commission, not a commission, but a panel of officers where we can get together and make sure that everyone sort of knows about everyone else's culture and religion, so no one gets offended by any action or inaction that was taken or not taken, right? So I thought that was great. And he said he would handle it, or not handle it, but he would sort of run it. So I think that's great leadership ability by Officer Hamoud, and I'm going to take him up on that. And all officers who want to be on this board can be on it. Right? People want to come in and learn about each other. Let's do it, right? So I appreciate the question.
I think that would be a great implementation. I mean, the reason I was asking Chief, because like 50% of the city were celebrating the holiday yesterday. To be honest, I don't think the police department was ready to be there for the 50% of the people who were celebrating the holiday yesterday. I mean, probably somebody like mentioned Officer Hamoud. I mean, that would be probably a great person to be on the advisory board to tell you more about 50% of the city who lives in the city, about their holidays, about their religion, about what they care for, about what they look for. I mean, all I'm saying, let's treat everybody equal. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we do. And we do treat everyone equal. And I appreciate the comment, you know what I mean? And we can go back and forth all night, but I'm not going to tell you that the police department was 100% right or wrong.
I'm not saying they were wrong.
No,
they were informed.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying, yeah, there you go. So
that's a set. We're not going to wait for the people to inform us. We have to be there for them. Okay. I mean, I had to email the mayor.
You had about 120 calls yesterday.
Yeah. So yesterday, I mean, so we knew Officer Hamoud was there, right? He was there. People say no one was there. Officer Hamoud was there. He said himself today. He was there. We had additional officers show up to help Officer Hamoud when he asked for some help crossing. But can we do better? Guaranteed we can. And I promise you we will.
And Chief, that was only one location. We have different locations in the city too.
All right. Well, you know what? We're going to do our best. We had 120 calls for service yesterday. It's not an excuse to not make sure that as many people in the city is safe. But I promise you that our police department will do a better job going forward. When we do have a mishap, we're going to make sure that we don't make that same mistake twice.
I would say probably the emergency director would be probably a great candidate to be on your advisory board. I mean, he knows about also the people in the city.
You can remember, council chair and the council people, they took over more than 3 minutes. So next time, debating. We need to take more time.
Okay. I appreciate your recommendation. I know, the emergency manager, he's an awesome guy. He does a great job. I know he was over at a couple of places, mosques today, and we have meetings set up tomorrow and next week to make sure that, you know, everything is taken care of going forward. We can't look backwards, right? Luckily yesterday, everything went fine. Officer Mahmood and a couple officers did a great job. I appreciate you bringing it up, you know, because the community needs to know that even though I'm not going to take 100% of blame, but I will take 100% of the responsibility, and we will get better.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I don't know who's next. Ma'am, I know you've been raising your hand for a long time. Sorry. And, go ahead.
Good evening, Chief Sullivan. Good evening, everyone. You know, I've been a resident here for 21 years. My parents actually bought the house when I was born. I just turned 21. And I've never seen as much, you know, community presence and police presence that we've had with Chief Hart and now Chief Swope. You know, he actually attended our Annapolis Iftar a couple days ago and learned more about our culture, learned more about our students. And there was actually an interaction where we had 4 students who, one of them had a hearing aid, and they're actually newer to our community, and they are from OW Best.
You guys in the back, you should listen to this.
And they were,
You should listen.
I'm listening.
and they were actually sitting with Chief Swope, and they were like, Chief, well, they didn't say Chief, they were like, Officer, where's your car? And he was like, well, I'm actually the chief, I have a different car. And their minds were absolutely blown. They've never seen a chief interact with them. And they were so excited, and they were so happy, and it was such a wholesome moment. It was like, wow, like they've never seen this before. Like, we've never had this in our community. Chief interacting with like students, talking to people. And I just want to say, like, thank you so much for all of the information, the transparency, these presentations. I've never seen something like this before. And I have a question. Like, as a resident, what can we do? You know, some of the responsibility falls on us. You know, talking to our neighbors, talking to our families. What is it that we can do to help keep our community safe? Wait, I have one more comment. I also went to a mosque in Northville yesterday for Eid prayer, and a lot of the mosques actually have their own security. So maybe we could work together to ensure, like, if they have their own security, and then, you know, you guys help out. That way, we're working together in the partnership, and it doesn't always fall on you guys.
Okay, I appreciate the.
I was asking that.
I appreciate the comment. So, you know, I did have some great interactions with the students the other day. That was awesome. The second question was, what can the community members do to help the police department? I would just ask that we stay positive, right? Bring us your complaints. You know, even though sometimes when you guys are complaining, it's because you're unhappy. So we expect to be yelled at and talked to a certain way. We're good with that. But please bring us the complaints, whether you're upset or you're not upset, because it's important to me to know, because if not, you're going to continue to be upset, right? So I want to solve those things for you, or at least try. So, you know, be positive and also respect each other. I know in the community, you know, it seems like a lot of people do respect each other. It seems like the majority of the community respects each other. So keep doing that and just have patience with one another, because not everyone's the same, right? Not everyone, you know, likes loud cars. Not everyone likes quiet cars. You know, maybe someone really likes sports cars and they drive too fast, right? Go up to them and say, hey, please, can you be quiet in the neighborhood? You know what I mean? If you don't want to do it, we'll handle it. But then let me answer the thing about the mosque security. In cities this big, right, we should have plans for every single event or gathering that attract many people, right? Historically, we don't have that here, right? We will have that here, right? I know we have some events coming up, but one of them is the summer festival. Causes some issues sometimes. This year, I'm hoping that it's not going to, because we're going to have a plan, right? We're not going to chase people around. We're going to stay put, and if they're going to fight, we're going to have a unit over here taking care of it. We're not going to run over there, because then the people over here are going to fight, right? So, in an instance like at the mosque where there's a lot of people, we should have a plan that says, what if something happens?
Have you been contacted about any of these big events, any of this organization, even if it's a mosque or a church or any other? Have you been contacted, the chief?
No, we haven't been
contacted. To be fair on your side, to be ready or to have a plan. Anybody ask for a plan?
Yeah, so the only people who really contact us about, you know, help would be the schools. They're pretty good at that, and what we do is, you know, we know something's coming up. I've had the Crestwood district calls me like 2 hours before and be like, hey, I need an officer. We make it happen. But, you know, we work out plans and procedures and stuff to make sure guys cover those events. But like, you know, and we talked about yesterday, right? You know, I'm not afraid, I'm transparent, right? So we didn't get contacted by the mosque, or, you know, by anybody saying, hey, you should be here. But you know what? We should have had a bigger presence. We should have had a bigger presence. So you can give me grief, you can do what you want, but at the end of the day, you know, should we have a bigger presence? Yeah, it would have been nice if we had a little help from the community. If we're not there, why are you guys here? Oh no, let me send 15 cars right now, I'm gonna be out there myself, right? So everything shouldn't be a setup, everything should be helpful, right? We're not trying to set you up and make you look bad, right? Oh, there's no one here, now we're gonna get an aha moment on you. No, call me and I'm gonna have every single police car there, and if I need Garden City there, and I need Westland there, and I need every other department there, I'll get them too, right? And it's free. So communication and you know, we are not going to make that type of mistake again. We're going to make other mistakes, but we ain't going to make that one again. I promise you that. Yes, ma'am.
One more thing, I'm sorry.
Yes.
A suggestion I have is if we get like a moderator or something, that way everyone gets to speak their turn and we go, everyone gets one turn, then like we do at the council meeting, then you get to go up a second time, you have a time limit. That way everyone gets a chance and we're not speaking over each other or having a back and forth. You know, this is very informational. We only have 2 hours, and this only happens so many times, and so it's not really fair to residents who come here to, you know, address issues or hear you guys speak.
No, I appreciate that suggestion. I think as we go forward, I think we're going to be able to work together more and not necessarily have to have a moderator. And we can, the more problems we resolve together, the less questions and the less the less we're trying to get each other, right? So we're going to work together, and we're going to, you know, hey, I have problems on, you know, John Daly, right? All right, well, let me solve that, right? And then the next time we don't have this discussion, so therefore we're not arguing about that anymore, right? So I think that's a great suggestion, but I think in this community, I don't think we really need to have to do that, because we have a lot of intelligent people in this room. Just because we all don't get along doesn't mean we can't.
And I would add, we've opened this up to different communities, like Van Born came in after we did the last presentation, that community organization. We've opened it up to the Rotary Club, we've opened it up to the Kiwanis. We want people to see what we're doing and come here.
Yeah. And a lot of this stuff, go ahead. Okay. So, you just screwed up my whole thing. So go ahead, anyone else have another question? Yes, sir.
One quick technology question. I seem to remember not too far distant in the past that the police department purchased a device that was supposed to cut down on high-speed chases. How's that working out?
Yeah, so we have 5 of the units installed on our police cars. We're about to approve the policy so our guys can actually go out and use them. But before they actually use them, we're waiting for the weather, because we have to train all our officers on using them, right? And they, certain training agencies like Schoolcraft College or Taylor or these other places, they don't open up their driving pads until spring. So therefore, we can't train our guys because the conditions don't allow for it. So, but we do have it, they're installed. We do have like 15 guys trained on it. But
you just haven't used them yet?
We just haven't used them yet, but believe me, when we do use them, it's going to be all over Facebook and everything else. We're going to show some video and show you guys what well, it was a grant, so it was free. But we're going to show you that it's paying off.
Can you tell everybody what it is?
Yeah, so it's called Star Chase. So Star Chase, it's some technology that we mount to the front of our car. Inside of our car, we have a panel, almost looks like you're in a fighter jet. Okay, we pull up to a traffic stop, or we get behind a stolen car. You know, people don't have a right to privacy in a stolen car, so we hit the button, we slam that GPS tag in the back of the vehicle. The car probably takes off because it's stolen. We have some technology, or a computer system in our car. Dispatch also has it. Officers have it on their phone, where we can see, we stop chasing, we see where that car goes, and we then just drive there and arrest the person or impound their car. So it's great technology. We also can use it, the car doesn't have to be stolen. It could be a guy that decides to take off on us, we hit the button, and then we can chase the car a minute, back off, and then find them. Another great thing about the technology, the GPS dart, it doesn't damage the person's car. It's like glue, right? So you just need to back up, pull it off, and it's gone. So, yeah, and some people say, let's not talk about the technology because then the bad guys will know about it. I want them to know about it because then they're not going to come to Dearborn Heights because we're going to tag them, right, and arrest them. So, Jay, who's next? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to mention last comment. I assure you, there was no setup. And
No offense.
About yesterday, and I don't blame you because you don't know. All I was saying, just surround yourself with people. If somebody set you up, probably court counsel is right next to you, and he celebrated that yesterday, and he didn't tell you. So all I'm saying, I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying, surround yourself with people from all areas in the city, so you can do your job better. That's all I'm saying. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much. Wow. There was no setup for sure.
I will add on, actually, I think the councilman did drop the ball. I
Oh
dropped
my
the ball.
God.
You know, it's not just the police department. As Dearborn American Muslims, we should have reached out to you and said, hey, tomorrow's going to be a hate prayer. We get some police officers there. The mayor dropped the ball. So it's not just one person or two people to blame.
That's exactly what the chief said. He addressed that. He
Yeah, no, I
literally
appreciate
said
it,
what
guys,
he
and
said.
we'll work together going forward, and I get your
I also want,
comments.
because I know we're recording, I also want to make it very, very clear that the mosque did have its own security, and I know that we send officers there every Friday. They also have their own security for Friday prayer as well.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, in Northville, you'll see 10% of Arab Americans, Muslim Americans, where in Dearborn Heights, you're seeing approximately 44% Arab American Muslim that are attending Friday prayer somewhere.
Yeah, and this is, yeah, no, I get it. So, you know, I know a lot of people probably can't hear you because I got a mic. So Councilwoman Medina was talking about, you know, the security at the mosque. They do a great job, right? We go there and we work with their security. You know, I mean, I think our police department has a great relationship with everyone, all our places of worship in the city. So next year, I think what I might do is put some crossing guards there, right? Some school crossing guards, right? Bright jackets, stop signs. You know, that might be a good idea, right? So, yeah.
Okay. I want to say something.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for all what you do. Thank you for the police department. You guys do an amazing job. And trust me, the community is behind you. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't hesitate.
Thank you, sir. We got like 9 more minutes. We won't keep you all night. Yes, sir. I know you've been trying to talk for a while.
Let the councilman go and I'll go after.
Since we're on the record, there's another Eid coming up June 16th.
Yes.
So you can be ready.
I already know about that one. I'm ready to go.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
I got a question. I apologize. I didn't get the woman's name who was speaking.
Nadia.
And Nadia, and apparently you were at a function or an event and was speaking and out of concern and just addressing them.
No, so we had it was an event at Annapolis High School and there were some kids there. Yeah.
My question is, were there any council members there addressing Nadia as well for her concerns as well? Or that's what I'm trying to...
No, I think we don't need to go back and forth.
The students
It's
actually
kids.
invited everyone. I had nothing.
Yeah, let's not talk about, I mean.
My question was, were there any council members there?
No, they were not.
Okay, case closed. You guys are doing a wonderful job. Roger, you're doing a great job, corporate counsel. Chief Hart and Mr. Bazzi, the mayor, doing an awesome job. We have had a corrupt police department for years. I've lived here 53 years. Okay, the main culprit, the bald-headed Mark Myers is gone, and I want it on record. He is gone. We're moving forward. The ones that are fighting you and fighting Mr. Bazzi and Roger are the ones that want the corrupt police to stay in this city so they can get away with the continued corruption in this city. Where are city council members tonight? There is nothing more important than safety and security in the city. Where are council members? Not all of them. Not all of them. Some of them walked in half over.
Yeah, I appreciate your comment.
All right.
And, I just want to let everyone know that our police department, you can have whatever opinion you want about before. I'm letting you know our police department is not corrupt. Our guys do.
I'm not saying the new one, the old one.
No,
Past one. I can prove it.
Great job. I appreciate it. So I think we'll be wrapping up here. Yes, sir. One more thing, then we'll go. Yes, sir.
I raised my hand 5 times.
I raised my hand, he never took my opinion.
You don't look as good as me.
You're doing a great job, and Mayor Bezos is doing a great job, Roger, you're doing a great job as well. Thank you. Happy holiday to everybody here.
We have shortage in the police department.
Well, I guess that question depends how you want to look at it, right? So let me answer the question. Yeah, so let me answer. Yeah. So we're talking about the shortage in the police department.
I don't understand people
So
complaining about counting.
it just depends on how you want to look at that, right? So historically,
Trying to make a difference.
there might have been, 80 officers, right? 80 from downtown, maybe. We're not at 80, right? We're on our way to 80. I think we're at near 70, right? So we're real close. But with that being said, through the COPS office, we have training on doing a staffing analysis of the police department. So we're going to look at how many calls for service we have, how many citizens we have, how many tickets we have, how many arrests we make, and then we're going to be able to tell exactly how many officers.
Because on Facebook,
They might say
they
they might say we only need 60 officers, and they might say we need 120, right? But we have to truly figure out, are we not? Until we do a professional staffing analysis, we won't know. And we'll let you know when we do that
You
report.
spoke about 4 regions in the city. Are you planning on opening 4 different offices in the 4 corners of the city?
No. So basically, it's just the workload is assigned based on geography, right? So our officers or detectives will all be upstairs in the detective bureau. And if a case comes in or a complaint comes in that specific area, it'll be assigned to those specific officers.
I have a question for the mayor, unfortunately. I'll ask you the city council next time. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody.
I appreciate it.